Are you a consultant who struggles with long project stalls, lack of getting information from your customers and clients when you need it, and for some reason, the inability for your projects to actually end on time by their deadlines? Well, it sounds like you don't have a client problem, you have an onboarding process problem. And if you need to create or enhance your current client onboarding process, then today is the episode for you, because I am going to share with you my foolproof, proven 6-step onboarding process that guarantees you get what you need on time in order to complete your project on time and keep your clients happy, sending you referrals, and coming back for more. Let's get to work. So first, let's talk about the importance of a client onboarding process. And sometimes we focus so much on marketing in our business and on selling in our business that we forget the most important step, and that is really onboarding our client. The right onboarding process can make or break your business. It can prevent refunds, it can prevent cancellations, it can increase referrals, it obviously increases the value of the service that you're delivering and the impact that it has, but most importantly, it clearly communicates to your client and customer, I am working with you to help you beyond just you paying me. I really want to get this going. And for most of us as consultants or coaches or service providers, it is going to be the difference between a long, drawn out, missed project deadline or extended project for no reason and one that actually is on target for your deadlines and actually getting to completion so you can move on to the next customer or client or even upsell your existing client. So having the right onboarding process is critical, and sometimes we just fluff over it and we don't spend enough time creating it and putting it together to make sure that the client experience and the journey from when they actually make that purchase and become a prospect to actually becoming a client is going to be a pleasant one, because it's probably for me the most crucial step in that client process. So today I kind of want to talk to you about the steps, right? Let's get into these steps, and I want to give you some examples of what I use in my current onboarding client onboarding process that I've learned over the years is really critical in order to be able to get things done and to prevent myself from being frustrated as well as my client. So step number 1 is to actually map out your client onboarding journey. Yes, you have to create that SOP. Now, I know you're probably tired of hearing me talk about mapping out SOPs all the time, but guys, it's all in the 4S Freedom Framework. I told you my story before. I told you how I figured out through study, through experience, that there's really 4 key things that if you focus on creating in your business, that you cannot prevent your business from being multiple 6 figures and 7 figures. You can't even mess it up. And creating processes is that second S. It's that systems, right? And so it's really important for you to take the time to actually map out what your onboarding process is going to look like. It's your workflow, it's your SOP, which is your standard operating procedure, it's your onboarding funnel. Remember, we talked about that in last week's video, that there really isn't a difference between those. I need you to make sure you're mapping out the workflow, the process, the funnel of your onboarding. And that's really important. So I legitimately mean getting a whiteboard, getting a piece of paper, and mapping out every single step in your onboarding process. Now, you've got to break it down into all of the steps. What are the steps that you want your client to experience from when they've made that purchase, that's the initial post-purchase contact, through to the actual delivery of your service? If you're a consultant, the done for you service. If you're a coach, the done with you service, the coaching call or the coaching session. And if you're a service provider, when you're actually doing the work for someone and you're actually delivering that service. You've got to map out what you want that to look like. And oftentimes when I'm mapping it out, the first thing I do is put myself in that client's shoes and figure out what I would personally want if I was that client. What would make me feel good? You know, because you're a customer, what a good customer experience is like, what you expect, what your expectations are when you have just made a purchase. You want to know immediately that the purchase is valid, for instance. So immediately upon making that purchase, I automatically have in every single one of my onboarding processes, step number 1 is a welcome email that the client receives. As soon as they make the purchase, as soon as the invoice is paid, they receive that welcome email. And that welcome email It only welcomes them to the team, but it also sets the expectations. It gives them immediate access, usually in my instance, to either a shared folder that we are going to be working on documents together, or a client portal that they can access things like their invoice, or a place where we're going to be sharing information or documents. They have immediate access to something because then they feel like that purchase has given them something tangible. And then also in that email, I spell out step by step the process that I am telling you to map out. And you can't do that if you don't map out that process. It explains to them, this is what's going to happen first. This is what's going to happen second. This is what's going to happen third. It is so important. And it really truly sets the expectations so that even if I don't talk to them again, personally, for a week or two after they've made the purchase, every single customer feels like they're engaged with me because they've gotten that initial welcome email, and they've typically gotten a series of additional emails following where I begin to gather the information. But I'm not going to get into that because that, my love, is what I'm going to go over with you in step 2. Now, I oftentimes get the question, and I am sure I'm going to get the question, so you can go ahead and put it in the comments below. What does an onboarding process look like? What does your onboarding process look like? Or CP, how can I put together a onboarding process? Or even much so, can I work with you? And yes, the answer is yes. It is what I do every single day, especially in my VIP days with clients. And we will actually map out a custom onboarding process for them and their clients. It is available. I will work with you on building that in your business. So if you are interested in filling out an application to go through a VIP day with me, please make sure that you check out the link in the description below and in the comments. You can also go to CherylCperez.com/VIP application and apply. In the VIP day, you and I will actually map out the perfect onboarding process for you and your customers, custom to your business. And all of the goodies that I'm going over with you today, we will actually create those for you specifically. Now, step number 2 is to personalize and streamline your onboarding process, your onboarding workflow, and the onboarding experience for your clients and customers. And that means that you need to do things like establish timelines, right? So customizing it says, all right, if I'm delivering a certain consulting service to a client, then there are going to be certain expectations around how long the customer will perceive it takes you to actually get things done. Also, a coaching call, setting timelines. This is what I need you to do before our coaching call. This is what we're going to do on the coaching call. This is what we're going to do after the coaching call. Or even if you are delivering a particular service, setting those timelines and expectations are important. And the best way that I do that is to create kind of a checklist of standardized things that I'm going to be doing with my clients during onboarding. It goes along with step number 1, which is kind of that workflow. And then I really begin to personalize and customize it for each individual client. And that doesn't mean because it's custom and because it's personalized that I can't automate it, because I still automate it. But my favorite system for utilizing it and building those workflows allows me to go in, and once I actually enter a client into the formal onboarding process, it's usually automated for me, then I'm able to customize that email. I'm able to customize it to their need, to customize it to the service that they're receiving, and then ultimately customize it to them. So I include things like, in order to customize, very custom welcome materials. So like a welcome package that's going to resonate with them and their needs and their customers and what they've ultimately hired me for. And then I also provide very clear instructions and guidance in my onboarding and welcoming materials, ensuring that they again understand each step that's going to be coming their way, that it is clear as to why I need to get the information that I need to get and that I'm requesting from them, and that they are continually being engaged post-purchase, even if it's before one of my favorite steps in the process, which I'm going to get into shortly. But don't forget, step number 2 is to really personalize their experience and streamline it as much as possible so that they are going through something. The very worst thing that you can do is to have somebody make a purchase and then it's crickets and they don't hear from you and they don't know what's going on and they have no idea. Bad idea, truthfully. Now, step number 3 in the perfect onboarding process is to collect the information that you need in order to deliver the best service. Now, when I am working with coaches or consultants or service providers, one of the biggest mistakes that I hear is that they have these huge stalls in delivering the service, especially consultants, right? You have a consulting contract or you're a coach and you have this huge stall in how you're able to deliver the service, meaning the contract is supposed to be 3 months. You requested some information from the client like after, in the middle of the whole thing, and it's taking them forever to get you the information that you need. It is extremely frustrating and you can't deliver the service. So I like to make sure that in my onboarding process, I am collecting as much information as possible while the purchase is fresh and while I have their undivided attention. The fact of the matter is, when a customer makes a purchase from you, the first 7 days are going to be the most critical for them, and that time frame where they're the most excited. When they actually have the mindset in place saying, I am now focused on this particular project, and so I can dedicate some time to it. If you don't take care of getting everything that you need in the very beginning while they're still excited, while the purchase is fresh, and while they're still in that mindset, it can be very, very difficult for you to get it at a later time. And so my onboarding process automatically includes all the information gathering that I need in order to be able to go off, work on my own, and deliver the ultimate consulting process or consulting service that I'm doing for the client. And so collecting the information is going to be critical. Some of the ways that I do that and that I recommend you do that is to use questionnaires and worksheets to collect as much information as possible. So one of the things that I like to do in the very beginning, as soon as someone makes a purchase, is they get that welcome email, and then within 24 to 48 hours, they automatically receive a project details questionnaire. That's what I call it. And that is getting the details that I need in order to even get this project off the ground. And that project details questionnaire can include all kinds of stuff. It just depends. This is a part of that personalization and customization that I talked to you about. But for me, it typically includes like if I need logos or if I need pictures. It gives them access to a share drive where we can exchange information. If I need data about what they're currently doing, like for instance, if we're in a VIP day, I'm going to get a project details questionnaire from you, especially if we're working on a process. I'm going to say, please upload or type out or give me any processes that you're currently doing, any forms, any pages, any link, all that stuff that you're currently using in your process so that I can ultimately get it and evaluate it and determine what we need to tweak and change already or what we need to kind of do away with altogether. And that is always involved in that project details questionnaire. I also like to gather in the project details questionnaire the team that I'm going to be working with. Who else on their team is going to be participating in this service delivery or in this project or in this coaching call? And the reason I like to do that is because, especially if you are working directly with business owners or CEOs or you in a B2B environment, or anybody who's busy and schedule gets action-packed, you're going to want to know who the secondary contact is. That way it keeps things moving. And so my project details questionnaire always asks for the name and the title and the email addresses of everybody on their team who this process or whatever I'm doing for them is pertinent to. That way, if the owner or the CEO or the lead on this particular project gets busy, I don't have to worry about not being able to continue to move forward because I've got access to other people on the team who are also going to be integral in me being able to deliver my consulting service. And so I will oftentimes say, who's your second in command? Who's the secondary contact? Give me their name, their title, and their email. Who are all of the department heads that I might be working with? Give me their name, their title, and their email. That way I am communicating with them directly. I am not expecting the other person to do that for me. And if that other person, that lead, that CEO gets really, really busy, I know that I can keep moving forward with other team members on other aspects of the project while their lives are kind of calming down. And so it really prevents me from having stalls. Now, I didn't do this in the very beginning. In the very beginning, did it the other way, probably the way that you doing it, or even the way that you don't do it because you ain't got no onboarding process, and that is a whole separate issue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
But if you are doing it the way that I used to, I was frustrated a lot. I was stressed out a lot, and ultimately I learned to get all the information that I need right up front in order to be able to deliver the service, and ultimately stopped having the problem of not getting responses from people and not being able to move forward with things. So that was important. And I also make sure that I encourage a lot of feedback and a lot of opinions in order to really dive into what that person's work style is, what their calendar looks like, how far out their calendar needs to be booked in order for us to be able to have conversations. And we will ultimately also book, I'll ask in the project details questionnaire, what day of the week do you prefer to have meetings? Because then I know when we're scheduling meetings to always shoot for that particular day. So I get really granular in order to be able to deliver the service. And the project details questionnaire is how I do that. And I totally recommend that you guys look into that as well. Okay, so let's talk about step number 4, but before I do, I just want to take a moment to say thank you so much for your support. And if you are getting value out of what I'm talking about, if you are a coach or a consultant or a service provider and you are like, yes, girl, I need an onboarding process, put onboarding down in the comments below. And while you're down there, please make sure that you like this video and share it and even subscribe, because I have a goal to get to 50,000 subscribers. I want to help thousands and hundreds of thousands of consultants and coaches and service providers grow and build their practices and their client base. And if you love it, then like it and show me, because it's going to help CPTV get even further. Now, step number 4 is really simple, and it's something that you really have to make sure that you are doing throughout your onboarding process, but it is important, and it is to communicate immediately and consistently. And I've already touched on this a bit in all the other steps. The key to a successful onboarding process for a client is that it is immediate and it is full of communication. How long your onboarding process needs to be really is dependent upon you and what is going to be the time frame between when they make the purchase to when you're actually going to begin delivering the service. So whatever that service is, if there is a 2-week delay or a 3-week delay or a 1-month delay, like in my instance, sometimes my VIP days are booked so much so that it could be a month between when someone signs up for a VIP day and we actually are able to do it. But during that month, the onboarding process for my VIPs is so intense that we need that 4 weeks, because I am communicating with them immediately, and every few days I'm gathering information, I'm having them work on things so that we can maximize our VIP day together. And that's what I mean. You've got to make sure that you are communicating immediately upon sale. So that welcome email that I talked about already has to happen immediately. Nobody wants to make a purchase and feel like they have no idea what the hell is going on because they've received zero communication.
Daddy, chill.
What the hell is even that?
Right? I think everybody has been conditioned nowadays that if you make a purchase, you expect to get an email immediately. And if you don't, you are freaking out and trying to figure out where things are. So make sure that you are communicating immediately, and then also consistently throughout the entire onboarding process. Now, I consider the onboarding process time frame to be from the time that they make the initial purchase to the time that you begin delivering the service. So however long that is for you in between, I need you to make sure that you are communicating consistently with your customer and client every couple of days, at the very least once a week, making sure that you're talking to them, that you're letting them know what's happening, that you're diving deep into things and you're getting them moving in the right direction so that they already feel like they're receiving the service that you have promised them you are going to give them. And then step number 5 in the world's greatest onboarding process, really for me, is monitoring the onboarding process, tweaking it, and improving upon it over and over and over again. I do it all the time. I'm constantly tweaking my onboarding process. I spend time in every single product or service that I creating and mapping it out, going through all of these steps that I'm going over with you now, but most importantly, monitoring it and evaluating it. And I evaluate the onboarding process by collecting feedback from the customer, by getting it from my team members, by finding out what's working, what's not working, by sitting and thinking about what I'm thinking myself, what I'm going through, what I think, I could do better in order to get more information or to move things more efficiently. And then I also analyze metrics and data all the time. I am constantly looking at the metrics of my onboarding steps, the data that's coming in from them. I'm identifying areas where I need to improve, where things can get better, where I can do things better. And then I also like to use the time every single year. You guys have heard me talk about my CEO retreats. I do them every single year. where usually in late August, early September, I will go off on my own, take a week away from the working in my business stuff and just really focus on working on it. And there is an entire day that I dedicate to evaluating, monitoring, and tweaking my processes, my internal processes. And onboarding, obviously, is on that list. And I take all the data, all of the things that I've listed out that I want to improve upon, and I begin to implement them and tweak them, map out new SOPs, add in new steps, and I'm ready to hit the ground running in the following plan year. So that is definitely something that I would recommend that you consider doing. And I don't want you to take a whole lot of time every single day doing it, obviously, but definitely carve out some time in your schedule, in your life, in your business to look at your onboarding process that you currently have, if you have one, and evaluate its effectiveness and seeing what your client retention rate is. Because if you can't retain customers, if you don't have a lot of returning customers, if you don't have a lot of clients making referrals for you, then I would venture to say that it's not your sales process per se that they're having difficulty with, it's the service process. And that initial taste in their mouth is this onboarding process. And if that taste, my love, is yucky and sour, you're not going to retain them. They're not going to come back. You're going to be giving refunds and cancellations, and you're never going to get any referrals or any social proof that you need in order to sell more later. Okay, so let's recap all of the steps in creating the perfect onboarding process here. Number one, map out your ideal client onboarding process and journey, create the SOP, add the checklists, all that kind of good stuff. Number two, personalize and streamline your onboarding experience. Go ahead, add the custom messaging, add the custom questionnaires and worksheets, do all of that stuff while you're in that onboarding process and automate it as much as possible. Step number three, collect all the information that you need in order to deliver the service. Yes, get it all up front. Remember that first 7 days is the most critical because it's going to be hard to get what you need after that. Number four, communicate immediately and consistently throughout the entire onboarding timeline. Make sure that you are talking to your client so they don't feel alone, they don't feel like they're out there on their own, and they don't feel like they wasted their money. And step number five, monitor, tweak, and improve. Yes, that's it, my love. If you don't have an onboarding process yet, take into consideration the 5 steps that I just walked you through. You have to create that. If you want my help, feel free to apply for a VIP application and I will 100% take a look and see if I might be able to assist you actually create your onboarding process in your business. And again, do not forget to like and share and say hello in the comments below. And until next time, my loves, I will see you very soon. All right, bye-bye. Mwah!